Right, let's crack on with part 8. This is where we left off on part 7. I'd just drawn this out. This plasma cutter is going to struggle a little bit with this 10mm plate. It's not been running very well just recently. I think it could be. It just needs a new tip or something, but because it normally will sever 12mm and usually cut reasonably well on 10mm, but it's not actually doing very well today. Anyway, we'll get it done. We'll get the piece out. Something happened there. I don't know what that was, but that's completely knackered the tip. It sort of blew back, and it's like completely burnt the end off. Absolutely mullered it. You can't really see that. Anyway, luckily I've got some spares, so we've got a new one in. Let's see how that goes. I must get some more of these spares. That's better. That's running how it should have done in the first place. I reckon if I'd just put a new tip in it, we would have been laughing. Right, so let's crack on and finish this bit. Now, someone did mention on the end of the last video, or on one of the comments from the last video, that if I made this piece that I'm making now longer, stuck it through the back, it would act sort of like a bit of a counterbalance. And I can see his point. You know, I could have welded a couple of thick bits on either side, which would have helped with the spring sort of thing, but unfortunately I haven't got a lot of room at the back where it comes through. I would only get about an inch or so extra, because it would catch the arm of where the wheels are attached to, the aluminium arm that goes through the frame. If I pushed it, hello, it's not happened again, is it? No, I think we're alright. Sorry, yeah, if I pushed the arm right through backwards, and I had a long piece sticking out, they'd hit. So thanks for the suggestion. It was quite a good idea, but it ain't going to work on this one. Never mind, I'm sure this will work as it is. What I might do is, if this works, I might actually draw this out in CAD and add it to the plans. So we'll see how it gets on. If it works. Clean up my tip. Lovely. Still quite fresh. Right. This is it. Cut out rough. I think I've left the camera on manual focus, but you can get the idea. It's very rough. So I'm going to grind it up. I won't bother showing you grinding it because it's just boring going backwards and forwards across a bit of metal with a grinder. Right, there you go. Just quickly ground up. I've got a bit of a noggin there which I shall probably weld up. But that's got the worst of it. Just run a sander over the rusty bits. So now I want to try and line everything up. This was my tracking wheel bracket that I made in I think it was the second episode. And that's about where I want it to go. So I'm just going to eyeball it up, get it about where I want it, and see if we can mark the holes, just spot them somehow. See what we've got. Right, if I just scribe through them with any luck, that'll give me an idea of where to put the holes. No, can't see a thing. That's because I've cleaned it all up. Can't see a thing. Right, what am I going to do? Let's think about this. if I work out roughly where it's got to go again, and this time I'm going to just put a line, see if I can see that, and then sort of just about sort of see it. So what I'm going to do, make life a little bit easier, get me Sharpie, and where those lines were, if I can just about see them, just put some Sharpie over the lines. I'm afraid I haven't got any engineer's blue, so Sharpie will have to do. Now position that again by eye, over that, and try again. Just scribe through the holes this time, onto the Sharpie, with any luck I'll be able to see them this time. Yes! Oh! Result. Okay, just going to spot them. Right, I've also got to mark up the hole in the end here. I'm not sure what size that one's going to be yet, because I've got some bushes that I'm going to try and use, some bits of bronze, but it might not work, so I'm not going to put the sort of, big hole in at the moment in case I can't use them. So I'm just going to put a hole in, probably about 10 mil, just to get something to sort of fix it into the frame with temporarily. Right, so we're going to spot that one. I'm also going to do one in the other end for the handle. I've got a little handle to go on that there. Mark that across. That's that one. Right, what else are we going to do? Go and drill them, I suppose. Now get a pilot drill or a small drill, because they're all going to be different sizes, but the smallest one is going to be a 5mm tapping size, so I'm going to use that as my pilot drill. I've marked what size I would need all of these, because that one I'm not sure of. I'm just going to put a odd hole in there, and then 10mm tapping size there. So let's crack on. Just change the speed, go up to high speed for that. Put a little bit of cutting fluid. It'll come out, there we go. It does make so much difference, this stuff. Right, let's crack on with the 5mm tapping size. Usually these are, doing it the way I've done it is fairly accurate. Obviously it's not 100% accurate, but I generally get away with it. And the one in the middle of these four is for the adjuster that's going to go on the opposite side to this. So that is going to be a clearance hole. this one I'm doing now, because I haven't got the tap the right size. I'll explain it to you when we get a bit further on. Right, and then just spot this one. Right, so let's change this drill. Oh no, sorry, forgot. That's the 12mm one. That's going to have the wheel actually bolted to that one. So I have to think for a second what was going in there. And I'm going to do that the same way as I did the other wheels with the studding rather than the bolt. Someone suggested using shoulder bolts, which is quite a good idea, but again, you don't get much adjustment. I don't know how you would work out how to get the shoulder bolt exactly the right length, so that you can tighten it up, unless you put the shoulder bolt in from the opposite side, but then it's loose. It's not held until you put the lock nut on, and if you not doing the lock nut up very tight, the whole thing could be slightly loose. So I'm not quite sure how that works. I'm sure someone will explain it, but not that it really matters because I haven't got shoulder bolts. So I think they work if you're pulling up to a certain size. I don't know. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Right, so that's my 6.8. No, is that 6.8? Tapping size for 10mm? No, it can't be. 8.5, isn't it? No, I don't know. Anyway, it's the right size. This is the 10.2, which is the 12mm tapping size, which I'm going to use as clearance for the 10mm that's going to come through there. So that's that one. Then while I've got that one in there, I will drill out that one. I painted those bits because I made them such a long while ago they'd started to go rusty, so I just gave them a quick coat of primer and stuck them in the drawer just to try and preserve them a bit. Right, while I'm at it, I'm going to put this same size through my mystery hole. It's as good a size as any for now. Right, I think that's it. We can go and tap them. This project has become a series of hole drilling and hole tapping. Seems to be an awful lot of it in this particular project. At the end of the day, I rather like stuff that's drilled and tapped and put together with bolts and studs and things, rather than always having to weld everything. Just means you can adapt things easier. It's not quite level. That's it. Just eyeballing that straight. Yeah, with drills and taps and stuff like that, bolts, it's just a little bit more adaptable, I think, rather than if something's welded. It's a bit more permanent. And when you don't really know what you're doing, which this is all new to me, this project. First time ever. Drilling and tapping stuff just makes life a little bit easier. Right, I That's that one. Always go a bit careful with these little 5mm taps because they can snap like carrots if you're not careful. This tap wrench is a little bit big for this. That little tiny one I had, I was trying to use on the 10mm, would probably be better on this. Obviously the longer the handles, the more leverage you've got, the easier it is to snap the things. Get this one's eyeballed straight. That's about it. This is just a plain old straight flute, this tap, so I have to break the chip off every so often. That's got it. That's that one. Oh, I won't bore you with the other two, we'll get them done and crack on to the next one. Alright, 10mm. Now I've got the bigger tap. Or bigger tap wrench, should I say. Get this started. Oh, need to tighten that up a bit. Again, not straight. Come on, Gary, get your arse in gear, get it straight. That's better. Again, this is that tap that's not particularly sharp. I'll have to go a bit careful with this one as well. Must order myself a couple of new 10mm. I've got a couple of 8mm and a couple of 6mm, a couple of 5mm, a 12, a couple of 20s, an 18. I think I might even have a 16 somewhere, but really short of 10mm. There's my handle. It's going to go in there. Lovely job. That'll tighten up nicely in there eventually. Right, so what now? Oh yes, let's tap the 12mm for the roller. That's gone up to the 12mm now. I seem to have this habit of always pushing them in away from me. They do straighten up once I give them an eyeball. Eyeball pull. Right. It's going through nicely. Nice sharp one, this one. Right. Okay. That's that one done. So we're getting there. We're making progress. So, this is what I was talking about earlier, the adjuster I'm going to use. What it is, if it'll focus, is half a push bike front or wheel axle. And it's got a really fine thread on it, but unfortunately I haven't got a tap that fine. So what I'm going to do is, if I can get this nut off, the way I fixed it, I just cut it in half, turned it down, pushed it in, and it sits in there with a little roll pin. Spring to keep it tight, keep some tension on it so it doesn't undo on its own with any vibrations. And this nut, it's quite clever because it used to go into the axle. I don't know if you can see there, it's got a nice little recess, shaped recess, which fits nicely inside that spring. But what I'm going to do is just weld this onto the arm that we've just made, and hopefully that'll do the trick. But I think I'm going to TIG weld it. Now, I've never used this TIG welder in anger. I've practiced a few bits on some sheet metal, you know, a few outside corner joints and fillets and all the rest of it, but I've never done going round something. So we'll have a go. That's pulled up a little bit that side, but I don't think it will really matter. I was hoping that the spring tension would just hold it down enough, but it has pulled up a little bit, but I'm not going to worry. It's only got to push and pull through. So, hello. I think I've knocked the camera. Trying to get round the other side. Cool, what a palaver. Luckily I noticed that I'd moved the camera. See if I can get around it from this side. I could have done with, I think, putting a smaller cup on there, but I've got one of these gas lenses and it really does make a difference. But that's not bad. I think that'll be alright. So, first time ever going around something, and it's slightly more complicated than just going straight. But I think it'll do the trick. So that will now come in from the other side, on this side, and poke out, and hopefully, right, there you go. Don't criticise my TIG, it's the first time ever. I'm quite pleased with that. First attempt going round something. So that's what I was after. So let's start putting it all together. We can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're starting to really see the finishing posts on this job. Still got a fair bit to do, but we're getting there. Let's just start them off. Same with those. I think I've been lucky with my finding the holes, or you know, scribing and popping and drilling them. They all actually line up, which is a result. But that's the beauty of metal. If it doesn't work, you can just weld it up and start again. Not quite so easy on wood, but can be done. I'll just tweak them up. They've gone in there nice. Just got a little bit out the back, which I will cut off once it's all finished. Pull that down. Super. Right, let's see if we can get that bit in. I've already put the studding in, same way as I did with the other wheels. So let's just stick the roller on and get it on. Stick the lock nut on. I guess really I could have put the plate on first. Might have been easier to see. Never mind. We'll get there. Right, tweak that up. It's just rolling. It looks like it's rolling fairly evenly. So, I've got a couple of little tiny washers here. If I can find the other one. I don't know where it's gone. It's going to be a bit tricky to get in, so I think I'm just going to try and rest it on the end of the bolt. See if I can do the same with the other one. Just hang it there and try and get this in. Get them lined up. a little bit on the tricky side. So I haven't really got the camera. That's the wrong Allen key. I really haven't got the camera positioned properly here so you can see what I'm doing, but well, you can guess what I'm doing. I'm doing up the blooming bolt, aren't I? But this one, this side, I think the washer's slipped down and it's stopping the bolt going in. It just won't start, so I think I'll try and persuade the washer out a bit. I think that's got it. Is that it? Yeah, we're in. Right, Allen key. Now these ones will be, again, once final assembly takes place, they will be Loctited in, because I don't want them done up too tight. Look at that. Lovely. Lovely job, and I think you can see, let me just move the camera up. What I was on about when I made it, it's actually pointing downwards. So you've got up and down. So you never know which way these belts might want adjusting. So let's just stick the adjuster in. That spring will take up the tension. So hopefully if there's any vibration, it won't alter itself but due to vibration. You can see that, look, pushing that out a treat. Absolutely lovely. And look, back in again and down. Perfect. Spot on. Just what I hoped would happen. Just how I hoped it would work. So, there's my handle. Go in that end. Pucker. It's really come together how I imagined. Only trouble is we've now got to try and get it fitted. So let's see if we can mock it up on the frame. Right, so what I've done, I've put a drill through the holes to hold it. Got my magnet there just to keep it basically in place. Stuck a belt on, and that's what it's going to look like, hopefully. That could probably come down a little bit, that top one, because it's sticking up a little bit. I want it to be running basically in the level plane, but obviously if I put bigger or smaller belts on, it's not going to, but this is the size belt I'm going to be using mostly. Now this is going to be right up tight virtually to this side. It's going to have about 1/8 of an inch, and then this side we will have a sort of a bush to take up the rest. Now I'm going to try and use these bronze bushes as well. I've got 2 of these, and together they make up the 1.5 or 40mm or whatever it is, 1.5, no, in between. And that shoulder should be just about right, so that they'll go together like that. The plate will be on this side, and then I'll have a bush the other side of it taking up the rest of the slack sort of thing. So I think the next job is to try and drill the hole in the back, or in that arm, big enough to take the bush. So I've got it up in the drill press. Got a big old drill. This is about 1/8 under 7/8. So it's basically 3/4. Because the bronze bush, the shoulder or the diameter is 7/8. Don't quite know why it was that size, but hey ho, doesn't matter. I've got a 7/8 drill, so I'm just putting this one in to sort of rough out the hole. It's not a particularly sharp one. I should have sharpened this before we got going, but it's doing the trick. And again, I probably should have slowed it down a bit more, but you know, it's such a fag on this machine to change the belts over, and as it's only one hole, I'm not going to bother. So that's that. I'm just going to punch that out because it's on a taper. I'm not using a chuck on this, it's got a Morse taper on it. Now I've got a lovely 4-flute drill. They're beautiful, these 3 and 4 flute drills. They run absolutely beautifully. They don't grab. Now I'm just going to take the last sort of 1/8. In fact, I think it's under 1/8. It's probably more like, I don't know, just over a 1/16 probably. Just open it up to the size I want. Let's see if this bush will fit. And that's just taking. That's, yeah, that, I reckon that'll be perfect. I reckon that'll just tap in or push in. It's got a few little burrs around there where it's, because this is old. These are quite old, these bushes, so they're slightly damaged, but I reckon that'll push in there. Just give it a go. Put a block of wood. I was going to use the fly press, but I think it's just a block of wood and a tap will do it. Yep, lovely. Look at that. Perfect. Lovely job. So I'm hoping that distance, that shoulder, is going to be just enough to get the roller in the right place. If it's not, I will probably adjust it with a now that's what I'm going to put a little spacer in there. You know, another bush to join it all together. Yeah, if the roller isn't in the right place, I shall probably just do what I did on the other rollers and skim a nut down or put another washer in or something or other, rather than mess about with these bushes. Once they're in and as this close, I'm not going to start mucking about. So I've just got this bit of, this was a bit of, I think, 1.5 inch bar. I've just turned it down to 1.25 inch because that's the size I need. I'm just going to drill it out. Just putting a centre drill in. Use the same. I'm going to use the same drills that I did on the drill press. I'm just going to put a smaller one through first. This is about 10mm. Just going to stick that through. It would be quite stuck without this little lathe. It's and it's cool on this little job, on this project. Done quite a few little jobs. Showing the travel on this tailstock is only 1 inch. It is a slight pain to have to keep moving it, but there you go. Right, see if I can find the, there it is. And again, this lathe is going way too fast, so I know I'm going to get people slagging me off for running it too fast, but again, it's all belt driven, and to change the belts is such a pain. You've got to release the motor with spanners. There's not an easy way of releasing it, and for one hole I'm not going to bother. If I was setting up to do a series of the same job, then I would, but obviously, for one hole I've got it set at sort of a useful speed. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. Right, let's get the 4 fluter in. Got to take a sleeve I've got to put on, an extra tapered sleeve. Take it off that one drill and put it on this one, because this, believe it or not, the lathe's got a bigger Morse taper than the pillar drill. These are lovely, these 3 and 4 fluted drills. I wish I could get more of them. They seem to be quite rare. I find most of them at sales and things. Right, so job done. So let's see if that bush will tap in there as same as the other one did. Yeah, look at that. Lovely push fit. Make sure it's down really tight, because I think that had a little bit of a nibble in the flange of that one. Right, let's just check that they're going to fit before we put them together. And it's just as well I did. I've made a balls up. I thought I was going to get away with a whole video without any cock-ups. What have I done there then? It needs... how much off? It's about the same amount as the... I know what I've done, I think. Let me just check with the vernier. But I think what I've done, I've measured the distance that I need without taking into account the thickness of the flange on the bush. So I wanted 1 inch, or gnats under 1 inch. Let me just see if I can check with this, if it'll go. Let me see. Yeah, you can't really see that, but it is, again, it's a gnats under 1 inch, so that's what I've done. I've made the bush itself 1 inch and haven't taken into account the flange. So it's a good job I didn't put them together. So I'm just going to whip that thickness off the other side. Right, all done, as if by magic. And now I have knocked it onto the other bush, and look at that. What a beautiful interference fit. That's not tight, that's just slipped in there a treat. That's beautiful. By the time I put the bolt through there and just nip it up, that's going to be spot on. So we're getting there, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but unfortunately we've come to the end of another episode. Now you can see that spring I've just rested in there for now is going to be a little bit short, so if I decide to use it, I'll have to make up the bushes that hold the spring in place, make them a little bit longer, just to take up the distance. And if this camera will focus, come on, focus, 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 there we go. The other thing I've got to do is drill out those holes. Again, they were generic holes, but now I've put those bushes in, they're going to have to be 16mm. So we can do that on the next episode and stick a bolt in there. Then all we've got to do is bolt the platen on and the tool rest, or the work rest, whatever. And then we're just about there. So, tune in for the next episode. Thanks for watching this one.